Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I am reviewing The Claws of Axos, which I have seen once before. I watched it back when the Season 8 box set first came out. It was my least favorite story of the season, and my least favorite Pertwee story that I'd seen all of. It was kind of nice going back to rewatch it. I am getting ready to work on a big Season 8 review for my patrons. It was the season they voted on, they wanted a big review on. And so I wanted to rewatch a couple of the stories for it. And I really wanted to give Claws of Axos a rewatch. Because the first time I was watching it, I was going through, of course, the whole season. The box set had come out. And I'd only seen like 2 stories from Season 8 before, Colony and Terror. So it was a whole lot of new stories that I was getting into. And then just kind of plowing through them one after the other. I really wanted to just watch Claws on its own without having the rest of the season crowded around it. And I just watched Monster of Peladon for the first time the other day. And I was in the mood for more Pertwee. I was just, you know, sometimes you just get in that mood where you want a certain era of Doctor Who. That's what you want to watch. Well, I really liked Monster. And I was like, I want more Pertwee. I really want to watch another Pertwee. And I knew I needed to do something for Season 8. And I said, you know what, let's give Claws of Axos another chance. And it's fine. Claws of Axos is nothing essential. Nothing to write home about, but it's not unwatchable either. I definitely liked it better this time than I did the first time. At the end of the day, it's fine. It gets its job done. It's very much a Pertwee story that you think of when you think of the Pertwee era. 'Cause, you know, not every Jon Pertwee story is that stereotypical Jon Pertwee story. This very much is, though. You know, you have the Doctor and Joe. You have Unit playing a big role. You have a lot of the Brigadier. You have an alien invasion on Earth. You have the Delgado's Master. You have these, you know, Season 8 very much is that the Pertweeest Pertwee season to ever Pertwee. And this is definitely one of the most Pertwee stories to ever Pertwee, in the sense that you have all of those ingredients you think of when you stereotypically think of the Pertwee era. And it's fine. It's kind of by the numbers in that. But it works. The dialogue is fine. I still enjoy the like FBI guy who's tracking down the Master. I like him. The actor playing him does a really good job. Delgado is always great. I mean, there's always a certain fondness you have for stories with Delgado. He's so good in this role. He's so good here. He's, you know, aptly enough, he's so hypnotic in the role. What can I say? And of course, I always love when him and John have dialogue together, which they have here in the TARDIS, when the Doctor's like, well, sure, I'll leave everybody here. Let's go together. You know, either we survive together or we die together. I always enjoy when they have dialogue together, because there is like this, I don't know if mutual respect's the word. You can tell they're at some point in their lives, they have a history together, a bond together, and that they used to be friends. You can see it. You know, you can tell that John and Roger in real life were friends. That just comes across, and I like that. I think the Brigadier is good in this one. You know, there are some times where the Brigadier's a bit stubborn and pig-headed. But I really think he's making good calls and good decisions and trusting the Doctor's judgment in this, which I really love when he does that. So there's a lot of that going on here. Then you have Mr. Chin, you know, that one guy, as Seska always puts it. You know, there's always that one person. He's that one person in this one that's just, you know, stiff upper lip. Yes, everyone needs to listen to me. I'm in charge. Always that one. And the actor playing him does a good job of that. The Axon design, I'm still not as into their humanoid design with the gold paint, but it's fine. I do still love their true form, the Crinoid form, which I always think of as the Crinoid form first, because that's the story I saw first, and I love Seeds of Doom. But it still works here. I like that costume, because, like, it's obviously a man in a suit, but it doesn't, like, my immediate reaction's not, that's a man in a silly suit, that's Bubble, right? You know, it's not that. It does look intimidating, especially for the time. But even now, it still has this kind of morbid look to it. There's something about something that's humanoid but isn't human that is just off-putting. You know, like zombies or the Weeping Angels. Something that doesn't quite move like a human, doesn't quite look human, that is just deep down unnerving. And I think these kind of pull that off in a way where they're humanoid, but it's a grotesque caricature of being humanoid. And they do that without it being silly most of the time. There is that one scene in episode 4 when Benton and Yates are in like the little truck and they're trying to run them over and shoot them with machine guns, and Yates is in the back firing the big gun, and that doesn't work because there's a couple scenes where like the Autons are on the truck fighting them, and it just looks silly. It just looks so silly. And then Yates ends up blowing up the truck. That one scene doesn't work. That feels like filler to me. And when I'm on it, I'm kind of laughing at the Axons going, that doesn't work. But most of the time, they work pretty effectively. I love that shot of the Axon crossing in the walkover. It looks like they're at a hospital, and it's got that little cross between the buildings, that little hallway on the exterior. And it does that kind of, and it does it in like this kind of slow, almost slow-mo, like it's stuttering slightly when it's walking across. I love that shot. There's just something about that shot I like. It's interesting because I can definitely tell the difference in the looks of episode 1 and 4 from 2 and 3, because of course 1 and 4 are the original masters, and 2 and 3 are not the original masters. They've been restored, and you can see the difference. It's not as noticeable going from 1 to 2. It's noticeable, but not as noticeable. But going from 3 to 4, it really jumps out at you. Matter of fact, the cliffhanger for episode 3, I knew was going to be where episode 4 started. So I knew the episode was about to end, because that scene when the Master's about to throw the switch, and he's like, you know, either we save the world or we save the Doctor. What's it going to be, Brigadier? And he throws the switch. I knew at the end of episode 3, I'm like, this has to be the cliffhanger, because that shot looks so much better than the rest of this episode. And sure enough, it hit the cliffhanger, and I started episode 4, and that was the beginning of episode 4. So you can see the difference. It's extremely apparent when they're in the inside of the Axon ship, because in the restored episodes, the colors look a little softer, and the reds never look right. It's the same way in the Daemons when the Master's wearing his red vest in the Daemons. In the restored episode, it looks different. It's like the color bleeds off, and it looks a more almost magenta glowing color, whereas in episode 4 of that, it looks a more solid, rich red. It's the same here. The reds in episode 1 and 4 look better. They look like more proper reds than this kind of soft, almost magenta red. So you can definitely tell the difference between episodes 2 and 3 and episodes 1 and 4, in my opinion. And it makes me grateful that there are at least 3 surviving episodes, because of season 8 of the 25 episodes, only 3 of them are the original masters, and that's episode 1 of Claws, episode 4 of Claws, and episode 4 of the Daemons. The rest have all been restored through other means. So I am grateful to be able to watch half a story from season 8 from an original master. That's nice, and it does look a lot better. I especially know it when I'm looking at Delgado, because the flesh tones have a little trouble sometimes in restorations, and in Delgado it looked much sharper in episode 4. I like a lot of John in this. I like how he's constantly picking at him about, yep, that's y'all's policy, right? Shoot first, think later. I love just the not having it he has, especially in episode 1, where he's just not tolerating a lot of the mistakes the stupid humans are making. And he's just like, aren't you going to try talking to it? Oh, no, just go ahead and shoot it down. That's what y'all do. I like John in that. I do like that about John's doctor. He's a very serious doctor, probably the most serious doctor. But just this respect he has for alien life, you know, when he's always like, you know, you don't have to shoot every single thing that comes from outer space. You could try talking to it first. I like that about it. Ultimately, one of the things I like about Claws is that it's a 4-parter that seems to realize it only needs to be a 4-parter. I'm glad they didn't stretch it into 6 parts. It's a 4-parter. It only needs to be a 4-parter. It gets its job done really well. I like the guy playing kind of the scientist with the glasses who's in a couple episodes. His death's pretty neat. I thought that was cool. I like the scene in episode 4 when Unit's in that control room and they're battling it out with the Axons. I think that's really well shot and choreographed, and I love after the Doctor defeats them, how they all just kind of disappear away. I like that effect of them disappearing away. That's pretty cool. The scene when the FBI guy is fighting the Axon that looks like him is really well done, because, you know, they don't have, you know, CG technology back then, so you couldn't have the same actor playing both parts. So, of course, they were having to use a stunt double. But the way the camera shots are done and the way they're intercut is very convincing. I mean, the way it's cutting back and forth, where he's playing one part, where he's playing the other part, that's really impressive. I've made a mental note of that when I was watching when they're fighting, since, you know, it's supposed to be two people who look the exact same. They did a really good job with that fight scene between him and his doppelganger. I was really impressed with that. So at the end of the day, it's still one of my least favorite Pertwee stories, but it's still a Pertwee story. And I don't think it's bad. I can say that. It's certainly watchable. I definitely liked it more this time. Now that I'm not just having to chug through the whole season, I can just enjoy it for it. Like, I started to take notes, especially for the seasonal video I'm doing for my patrons. But I decided, no, I want to be able to just sit down and enjoy this story and see where it falls. And fine. I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, this was really good. It did things I like. At the end of the day, it was a bit uninteresting, a bit by the numbers. Nothing really jumped out at me, but it's fine. I can see myself going back and rewatching it in a year or two. I don't have to wait a decade to go watch it. The performances were good. So yeah, Claws of Axos. Liked it better than I did before. It's still probably one of my least favorite Pertwees, but I tend to like just about all the Pertwee stories. The only ones I haven't seen at this point are the Mutants, which I don't hear the best things about, and the Time Monster, which I've only seen the first episode or two of because I couldn't get through. I have to say the Time Monster, I guess, is my least favorite because I couldn't get through it. We'll give it another try when that box set comes out, since it's supposed to be the next one, right? So, the Claws of Axos, what do you think of it? And what do you think of it in relation to the rest of Season 8? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button. My goal for 2023 is to reach 1,000 subscribers, so I certainly would appreciate that if you enjoy my channel. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support what I do. That helps me keep the bills paid. Plus, they do get early access to a lot of different videos. I'm really pushing early access videos for them this year. And patron exclusives as well, such as that seasonal video I'm working on very soon. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Stephen Crane, and Dr. Finn Perkins. I appreciate their continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review. I did recently get Monster of Peladon from a subscriber, and I very much appreciate that. I also have a link to my P.O. box down there. Well, a link to my P.O. box. My P.O. box is down in the description. A link to my Amazon wish list is down below as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.